The new Shem angel, Rahel, has just begun his reign using the timing of the divine cabal. According to the divine cabal, this Shem angel rules from February the 28th until March the 5th, inclusively. Okay, and of course, Agrippa, Cornelius Agrippa, in his 16th century three books of occult philosophy, Cornelius Agrippa says that the 72 Shem angels correspond to 5 degrees each of the zodiac, or the quinaries of the zodiac. So beginning with Vehuya in 0 degrees Aries, here we are all the way at Rahel. Rahel, using the tropical zodiac, Rahel governs from 10 to 15 degrees of Pisces. Rahel is an angel of fame, fortune, and inheritance. Fame, fortune, and inheritance. Rahel, okay? So Rahel, fame. So being famous, fortune. If you want to be recognized for your talents, Rahel. Rahel has to do with recognition for your talents, fame, recognition, fame, fortune, and also inheritance. So inheritance was a big deal back in the day. Inheritance, that would be a big concern, is passing on wealth through the family, and that was a big deal. And magic back in the day. So Rahel was for fame, fortune, so wealth and fortune and inheritance, okay? Rahel. It's interesting that his name is sometime it's spelt. Actually, this began, we see it in Lazare Lenain's La Science Kabbalistique, or the Science of Kabbalah. It's spelled Rochel. And then we also see that in the Divine Cabal. But we don't see that in the earlier sources. And the actual Hebrew is Resh Aleph He Aleph Lamed. So the original Hebrew, we can look in Exodus chapter 14, verses 19, 20, and 21. We can look at the Hebrew of the text and see that it is Resh Aleph He. Okay? Resh Aleph He. Rahel. It's not the letter Chet. Okay? There is no CH. There is no Chet. It's it's Resh Aleph He. Aleph Lamed. Rahel. So Rahel, like I said, has to do with fame and fortune and also inheritance. According to Athanasius Kircher, the Psalm verse, the divine attribute, according to Athanasius Kircher in his Oedipus Egyptiacus of 1654, according to Athanasius Kircher's Oedipus Egyptiacus, the divine attribute is the all-seeing God. All-seeing God. It's interesting, Rahel, R-A-H-E-L, Rahel, the all-seeing God. And the psalm verse associated with him is Psalm 16, verse 5. The Lord is the portion of mine inheritance and of my cup. Thou maintainest my lot. Again, the psalm verse associated with this Shem angel, Rahel, according to Athanasius Kircher's Oedipus Egyptiacus, is Psalm in the Masoretic text, Psalm 16, verse 5. The Lord is the portion of mine inheritance and of my cup. Thou maintainest my lot. Now, it's interesting that Rahel is associated with inheritance. And here in the Psalm verse, all the way back in the 17th century, in the Oedipus Egyptiacus, the Psalm verse associated with this angel, it has inheritance in there. The Lord is the portion of mine inheritance and of my cup. Thou maintainest my lot. And also maintainest my lot. You could see, like, if someone back in the 1800s, 1700s was dealing with a inheritance dispute or lawsuit or whatever, dealing with issues of inheritance, thou maintainest my lot, my portion. Okay, so I'm going to read that psalm verse again. It's psalm verse it's Psalm 16, verse 5 in the Masoretic text. The Lord is the portion of mine inheritance, and of my cup thou maintainest my lot. So again, Rahel governs fame and fortune and inheritance. So he doesn't just have to do with inheritance. That's just one of his aspects. So anything to do with fame, in other words, like recognition, fortune, so good luck and success and fortune, any kind you want good fortune in something, and then also inheritance. So fame, fortune, and inheritance. Rahel. Rahel governs from 10 to 15 degrees of Pisces. Once again, Cornelius Agrippa, in his 16th century, in the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, Cornelius Agrippa in the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy says that the 72 Shem angels each govern 5 degrees of the zodiac, or the quinaries, okay? So according to Agrippa, they each govern 5 degrees of the zodiac. Now beginning Vehuya at 0 degrees Aries and working through it, Rahel governs from 10 to 15 degrees of Pisces. Okay, we're at angel number 69. Angel number 69. Now, one could also follow the sun through the zodiac, which is done in the Divine Cabal. The Divine Cabal actually says of this angel, Rahel governs. And again, the Divine Cabal spells it R-O-C-H, but there is no chet. It's the letter He, it's an H. Rahel governs from... the Divine Cabal says that he governs from February the 28th until March the 5th inclusively. Or the March 4th inclusively. So that's in the Divine Cabal. So that's using that kind of timing, following the sun through the zodiac. And again, in other videos, I've talked about that there are different ways to do timing. Some may use no timing. Some may see the 72 Shem angels as just angels of the name. Some that want to use timing, they could use like the Divine Cabal type of method where they follow the sun through the zodiac so that they would work with a new angel every 5 days. And using this method, one could initiate or work their way through all 72 angels in a year as a type of initiation, and work through all 72 angels in 1 year. One can undertake that type of work, okay, which could be very transformative. Or one could also work with any angel on any given day using a type of timing found in Lazar Lenain's Science of Kabbalah, and this is the 20-minute cycle. Using the 20-minute cycle, one can work with any angel on any day using the 20-minute cycle, and some people may use no timing. And then Lazar Lenain does give various other forms of timing. Anyone that wants to explore that, they can look at Lazar Lenain's different forms of timing in his Science of Kabbalah. I don't personally follow everything that he teaches there, but Lazar Lenain was an interesting figure, and this book was published in 1823. So again, the point is, this book was published in 1823, okay? So you can't judge an entire tradition or see a whole tradition just through the lens of this one book, okay? Just this one book. See it through the lens of this book published in 1823. It just wouldn't make sense. So it's part of the tradition, okay? Lazar Lenain, what he had to say was interesting. So there's some people that follow his timing. There's some people that work with Lazar Lenain's Science of Kabbalah, or La Science Kabbalistique, but it's certainly not the only way to work with the Shem angels, okay? So this book came up in 1823 with these different forms of timing and this idea of 3 different guardians, Shem angels, and all this type of thing. But it's interesting. And it is was very influential in like modern, like 19th century and later, like Shem angel work. But anyway, so Rahel governs fame, fortune, and inheritance. Okay, so he's going to be governing over the next 5 days. I highly recommend those of you that watch my videos to work with Rahel and have an experience with Rahel. Okay, so I highly recommend those of you that watch my videos over the next 5 days around the world. There are different ways of doing Shem angel timing. Those around the world, those that work with the Shem angels following the sun through the degrees of the tropical zodiac, those that work with the Shem angels this way around the world right now, just now have begun to work with Rahel that are following this timing. So around the world, people now are starting to work this time of year. These are his 5 days. People are starting to work with Rahel. And again, there are people that work with any angel on any day. Okay, there are people that use no timing. However, like I said, those that do follow the sun through the tropical zodiac, through the degrees, around the world, those that are doing that right now, we're all turning our focus to Rahel at this time. So, is there something that you want good fortune in? Is there something that you would like to have good fortune? So I would encourage y'all at home, is there something important to you, something close to your heart that involves fortune? Anything close to your heart that involves fortune, okay? I want y'all to think about that. Anything dealing with fortune, fame, or inheritance. Think of something. So this is the office of the angel. The office of the angel. Fortune, fame, fortune and fame and inheritance. Think of something within that office. And then there are also the powers of the psalm verse. Okay, there are also powers of the psalm verse that could be associated with various things as well. There are powers of the psalm verse. Actually, I want to show you something here. Let me see here. So, Lazar Linane, where was I going to go with this? So anyways, the angel that governs for the next 5 days using this timing is Rahel. I really encourage y'all to work with this angel during this time. Think of something within the angel's office that you want, that is important to you, something that is close to your heart. What you would do is you would call the angel's name various times and you would recite his psalm verse. I would light a candle, light some incense, call the angel's name various times, and then recite the psalm verse, and then just pray to the angel. Tell the angel what you want, okay? And then see what happens. That is what I encourage people at home. See what happens. Light some candles, light some incense, call the angel's name, recite the psalm verse, try to have an experience with these angels, try to have an experience, be open to an experience. Look for any kind of sensations, any kind of feelings, emotions, thoughts, ideas, any kind of sensations that you may or may not have, and write these down. Okay, you're trying to have a Shem angel. People have been having experiences with Shem angels throughout the centuries. Now, just because you have an experience does not make it real, does not make it objectively real. And it's important for people to understand that you're to be open to having an experience, but not to make that like their new fiat. Okay, you have to be able to, just because you have an experience of something doesn't make it real in an objective sense. But that doesn't mean that you're closed off either. You need to be open. Okay? So that's the thing with magic, is being able to be open enough to actually having an experience. For many people, that's hard. For many people, that's the difficult part of doing something like magic, okay? It's just being open to the potential or possibility of having an experience. You have to be open to having some type of an experience, okay? And then, but also having some type of experience, write it down. You may have some type of Shem angel contact or experience. If you do, write it down. Now, the other side of that is just because you had an experience or believe you received a message does not make it, quote unquote, the truth, okay? So that's the important thing. So that's where it takes someone to have like a balanced mind and working with these type of things. And that's where it can also be dangerous, okay? But for those of you that do want to try to have a Shem Angel experience, for those of you that are working this magic with us, right now we're working through Rahel, okay? So I'm working with Rahel right now. I encourage any of y'all that want to jump in and do some of the Shem Angel work right now. Think of something that is important to you, close to your heart, that has to do with fortune, or fame, or fortune, or inheritance. Maybe not everyone is dealing with inheritance, or maybe not everyone is dealing with an issue of fame. Maybe you are. But I think pretty much everyone, there's something close to their heart with fortune. Okay, is there something important to you? Now, here's the thing. Just because something is important to you does not mean that it's what you really need. And when you're dealing with something like Shem angels, they're also dealing with, from a higher level, they know what like is really good for you. But people that work with these types of things, well, I don't really want to tell people like what to experience. In the process, you may learn certain things, or you may grow, or you may have an experience. It could be kind of an transformative thing. You may discover that really you don't want the things that originally you thought that you needed. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically when you cycle through the angels, if you were to do that, like that could be a transformative experience. And over time, like you learn more, like what do you really want? What do you not want? And like, maybe where you began the process, like with certain goals and desires, that ends up transforming over time, if that makes sense. But anyways, so that's a little bit about the Shem Angel. I really encourage y'all that are working with this at home to work with Rahel over the next 5 days. This is his time. You don't have to have an elaborate ritual. You can just pray to the angel. Rahel. Just pray to the angel. Call out his name. There are different ways to work with this. One can make a Shem pentacle, which I made a video about that last week. Or I made a video actually in 2 parts on the Shem Angel pentacle. People can find that here on Facebook if you just scroll up and down through my profile, and you could also find it on my YouTube as well. The Shem Angel Pentacle. This could be used as a meditative device, as a way to communicate with the Shem Angels, and can also be used as a kind of a scrying medium as well, like sigil scrying. So the Shem Angel Pentacle can also be used, traditionally what it would be used for is a type of link to connect you with the angel, okay? Sigil scrying is completely a modern innovation. It is not traditional. That is a modern innovation. But in my videos, I like to talk about all the different techniques, because there are some of us that want to follow a more traditional approach, and there are also some of us that want to use different modern methods. And I encourage people to simply try different things out, to experiment, and write down whatever results that you may have. So from a traditional standpoint, a Shem Angel Pentacle would be something to connect you with the angel. Okay, it helps to connect you with the angel. And if you were to try to scry, it would be a scrying crystal. Okay. But sigil scrying is a modern method that some people use to look at the pentacle or look at the sigil to try to scry. So I talk about different techniques. Now, also, we are working through geomancy. So for those of you that are watching my videos, we like to draw a geomantic figure Those of you at home, if you have a paper and a pen, we are going to do some geomancy. Okay, we're going to do this together. So if y'all watch my videos, I know that all of y'all at home are already practicing geomancers. I know that you're already doing Renaissance magic types of divination. Again, this type of thing can be used to communicate with spirits. It could be used to communicate with planetary spirits, geomancy. Oh, by the way, so we're doing Renaissance angel magic, and we're also talking about how to do Renaissance divination, where geomancy can be used according to Agrippa or pseudo-Agrippas on geomancy, written in the 16th century. According to that, geomancy can be used to communicate with earth elementals, so terrestrial spirits, earth elementals, terrestrial spirits, or it could be used to communicate with the planetary intelligences or spirits listed by Agrippa. So this is kind of bringing Agrippa to life, because you could, these planetary intelligences and spirits that are listed in Agrippa, you can ask them questions, okay? Now, for example, if you look up geomancy, and you look up what different people have to say on YouTube and on different webs, wherever, whatever platform you're on, look up geomancy. Everyone talks about this ancient Renaissance method, so it's very mainstream. It depends on what you want to ask about, okay? If you want to ask about love or romance, you would ask the intelligence or spirit of Venus. Okay, you're going to ask the intelligence or spirit of Venus to know about romance. Now, the intelligence of Venus listed in Cornelius Agrippa is Hagiel. Okay, so again, this is bringing the magic of Henry Cornelius Agrippa's 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, that great tome from the 16th century. This is bringing that 16th century magic to life. You're going to ask Hagiel, who Agrippa lists as the intelligence of Venus. You're going to ask Hagiel, trace the sigil of Hagiel, call out Hagiel's name. I would call out Hagiel's name 7 times. That's the magical number of Venus, according to Agrippa. And then ask Hagiel the question, and then you're going to take the pen and make the dots on the piece of paper. You're going to draw your geomantic figure, okay? So this is a way that you're beginning to use geomancy as a way to facilitate spirit communication. And this is getting into like 16th century grimoire magic, okay? So this is Renaissance. You're going to communicate with a planetary intelligence. You're going to ask Hagiel, which is I almost said Olympic, is the planetary intelligence of Venus. Ask Hagiel about love matters. Okay? If you want to know about a job promotion, you might ask, and you want to do a geomantic reading, you might ask the intelligence of Jupiter, Yophiel. Okay? Agrippa gives, if you go to the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, Agrippa, he gives the sigil, he gives the sigil of the intelligence and the name of the intelligence, even Hebrew names of God that you can use to call the intelligence. Now, in fact, I think that we need to do an entire episode on how you can easily call an intelligence of a planet, ask it a question, and draw a geomantic figure. I think that is what we should do. And all of it needs to be based entirely on Cornelius Agrippa. Nothing added to it. I think that's what we need to do. By the way, I just wanted to show you guys, a lot of people like to work with their birth angel, which is the Shem angel that governs the degrees of the zodiac. The Shem angel that governs the degrees that your sun is at your birth. So if you look at what is your sun sign, okay, and then you look at what degree was the sun at your birth. Then you look at what Shem angel governs those 5 degrees, okay. My birth angel, following this method, is Mitzrael, my birth angel. So look at what degree the sun was at your birth, and then you look up what Shem angel that is. That's your birth angel. My birth angel is Mitzrael. Now, how can you work with your birth angel? There are many ways that you can work with your birth angel. Many people say that you don't even need to use timing with your birth angel. You just work with your birth angel. Some people do use timing, but whatever, your birth angel has to do is like your own personal Shem angel. Out of all 72, it's your own personal angel. Now, Lazar Lanain does give like 3 different guardian angels, 3 different angels in his Science of Kabbalah, but not everyone uses that. I personally don't use it, but even in his book, this is one of his angels. But basically, look at where's the sun at your birth, and then you know what your birth angel is, okay? Mine is Mitzrael. Now, what I do, I carry the stone. Now, what you can do is you can look at what is your sun sign, and you can see what Cornelius Agrippa lists as the stone of your sign. For example, Pisces is a sapphire, okay? You can buy sapphire jewelry. Make sure it's real sapphire. Make sure it's not fake or lab grown. You want natural sapphire from the earth, real sapphire from the earth. Sapphire, according to Agrippa, is the stone. And this is from the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy by Cornelius Agrippa. This is Book 2, Chapter 14. It lists the stone. So if you're a Pisces, then you can use a sapphire to communicate with your Shem angel, because your Shem angel would be one of the 6 within Pisces, would be your Shem angel. Like the current angel Rahel is one of the Shem angels that would be under Pisces. So technically, to work with Rahel, one can use a sapphire. Okay, one can use a sapphire. Now, where am I getting this information? Why would you use a sapphire? Well, because if you go right here to the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, if you go to the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy and you go to Book 2, Chapter 14. So, Cornelius Agrippa's 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, Book 2, Chapter 14, of the number 11 and the number 12, with a double seal of the double scale of the number 12, Kabbalistical and Orphical. Now, there's the scale of the number 12, okay? And Agrippa, he gives these different, like, correspondences, okay? As you could see at the top, the different permutations of the 4-lettered name of God, Yod, He, Vav, He, the 4-lettered. So, first of all, in Agrippa, he lists that each of the 12 signs of the zodiac, there's a different permutation of the 4-lettered name of God, Yod, He, Vav, He, okay? So, for example, Aries has the normal Yod, He, Vav, He. Okay, Yod, He, Vav, the normal order, that's Aries. But then Taurus, it's Yod, He, He, Vav. Okay, and then in Gemini, it's Yod, Vav, He, He. And then in Cancer, it's He, Vav, He, Yod. And then in Leo, it's He, Vav, Yod, He. And then in Virgo, it's He, He, Yod, Vav, etc., etc. So now, how is this used? Well, for example, in the Divine Cabal, which is a late grimoire, it's from like the 19th century, but it's an interesting text. The Divine Cabal shows, an interesting use of this is that you use the permutation of the name of God to call on the zodiacal angel. Now, who are the 12 zodiacal angels? Well, we go right back here to the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, book of Cornelius Agrippa, Book 2, Chapter 14, the scale of 12. We see the zodiacal angels. The zodiacal angel of Aries is Malchidiel. Of Taurus is Hasmodel. Of Gemini is Umbriel. Of Cancer is Moriel. Leo, Verchiel. Melial is Virgo. The archangel of Libra is Zoriel. Of Scorpio is Barbiel. Sagittarius, Adnachiel. Of Capricorn, Hanael. Of Aquarius, Gabriel. Of Pisces, Barkiel. So as you can clearly see, there are the 12 angels of the zodiac signs right here in Agrippa. Now, here's an interesting thing. Again, if you are watching this video, we are together going through the 3 books of occult philosophy by Cornelius Agrippa. This is a very important book that was written in the 16th century. So people from many different levels watch my videos. Many of you are very familiar with the 3 books and have read it many times. Many of y'all have read the 3 books many times, but some of y'all have never heard of this before. So to make my videos for everyone, the 3 books of occult philosophy were published in the 16th century and were very important. They are largely regarded practically as like the Bible of Western occultism, not because it literally is like a Bible, but just in the sense that it was such an important book. Everyone read it. If you were an occultist, you read the 3 books. And it was very important. It collected a lot of important information. So it is a book of 16th century magic. It's written by Henry Cornelius Agrippa. It's written in 3 books. So this is, it was book 1 was published in 1531, and then all 3 books together were published in 1533. The 3 books of occult philosophy by Henry Cornelius Agrippa. By the way, once I finish the video, I'll provide links for anyone that wants to buy a copy. There are various versions of this. And by the way, if I do provide an Amazon link and I put #ad, it is a commission link. So I do get a commission if people purchase through there. But anyways, going back to this. So this is a very important and basic 16th century Renaissance magic source. We are reading the 3 books of occult philosophy together by Henry Cornelius Agrippa. And today we are looking at book 3, chapter 14, the scale of the number 12. Here you see I just listed off the angels of the 12 signs of the zodiac. Here you see in the elemental world, we see the different herbs or plants. Okay, different herbs or plants of the 12 signs. For example, sage is associated with Aries, upright vervain with Taurus, bending vervain with Gemini, comfrey is with Cancer, lady seal is associated with Leo. Lady seal is the herb or plant of Leo, according to Agrippa. So anyways, you go on through here, scorpion grass and mugwort. Mugwort is associated with Scorpio, according to Agrippa. Mugwort is associated with Scorpio. Again, we are reading, we are looking at the table from Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy, book 2, chapter 14. We see mugwort is associated with Scorpio. Okay, you go on through these, okay? So, and then we see the stones. The 12 signs of the zodiac have stones in Agrippa. Aries, the stone of Aries is sardonyx. Taurus is carnelian. Gemini is topaz. So topaz, according to Agrippa, topaz is the stone of Gemini. Topaz. We are going back to the Renaissance magic sources. We're reading Agrippa, the stones of the 12 signs of the zodiac. Once again, Aries is sardonyx, Taurus is carnelian, Gemini, the stone of Gemini is topaz. The stone of Cancer is chalcedony. The stone of Leo is jasper. Jasper. That's the stone of Leo, according to Agrippa. Jasper. A Virgo is emerald. Emerald is the stone of Virgo. Beryl is of Libra. Beryl is Libra. The stone of Scorpio is amethyst. The stone of Sagittarius is hyacinth. The stone of Capricorn is chrysoprase. That is what I have here. This is chrysoprase. Okay, and what I'm talking about here in my videos is that you can use stones to work with your Shem angel or any zodiacal angel. So, for example, this stone, this is chrysoprase. Make sure that you get the real deal. It's not grown in a lab. Make sure you get the authentic stone. Your birthstone listed in Agrippa can be used to contact your birth Shem angel. Okay, so chrysoprase is the stone of Capricorn, according to Agrippa, and I personally work with it to work with my birth angel, Mitzrael. So Mitzrael is is the Shem angel that corresponds to the sun at my birth, and then I also wear chrysoprase around my neck. But this is where where does this practice come from? Well, it comes from Agrippa. I didn't get this from any modern book. I got this from Agrippa. Not because classic books are any better, but I just like Agrippa. This is from the 16th century. So chrysoprase, sorry for that little interlude. Chrysoprase, according to Agrippa, Book 2, Chapter 14, chrysoprase is associated with Capricorn, of Aquarius, crystal, of Pisces is sapphire. Sapphires of Pisces. So what you would do is to work with your birth angel, which is the angel that governs the degrees of the 5 degrees of the zodiac, that where the sun was at your birth angel, or to work with an angel that you are currently working with. These are correspondences based on Agrippa that you can use to work with your Shem angel. So how do we work with your Shem angel? We have the name, we know the office, we know the divine attribute, we know the psalm verse. These are things that connect us with the angels. There are the sigils that are found in the divine Cabal. There are the sigils, and that some people may use. I don't use them because that's a later edition. I personally use the method like Dr. Rudd used, where he just used the name of the angel in Hebrew and then the Latin psalm verse. That's what I personally use. And then you could also use correspondences, like right here in the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, Book 2, Chapter 14, it says you can use the stone, because the stone corresponds to the zodiac sign. This can be used to work with your personal birth Shem angel. So birthstones. Now, where was I going to go with this? So I plan to read a lot more about through the 3 Books of Occult Philosophies. Let me see here. So we are going to do here. All right, y'all. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you where you can go start asking questions of the intelligences. So, yeah. Let me see here. All right. We're going to start working with the intelligences, and what you're going to do is just draw the sigil. You're going to draw the sigil, and then we're going to also continue to work through Agrippa, or Pseudo-Agrippa's 4th Book of Occult Philosophy. One of the things that we've been doing here in my videos is we've been doing geomancy. Geomancy is what a Renaissance magician would use to communicate with astrological spirits or intelligences, to ask them questions. So like I said, if you want to ask a question that deals with love, you would ask the intelligence of Venus, okay? Or you want to ask about something to do with fame or glory or success. You could ask, and you can do the solar intelligence Nakiel, or whatever you're working with. Anything Saturnine, you could work with Agiel. So what you would do is you would trace the sigil of the intelligence. You would call its name various times. I personally recommend doing the magical number of the spirit. For example, 5 of Mars, 6 of the Sun, 7 of Venus, 8 of Mercury, 9 of the Moon, etc. Call out the name of the intelligence, their names of God associated, if you're familiar, if you're comfortable doing that in your practice. Different people feel different ways about things. I personally have no problem doing it. I use the Hebrew names of God taken from Agrippa. For example, Elim in Agrippa is associated with the moon because the gematria of the Hebrew letters equals 81, which is the square of 9. So this is kind of bringing Agrippa to life. You have the intelligence of Agrippa, you have the names of God from Agrippa with the gematria value, using the Kabbalah of Agrippa, practical Kabbalah, mind you, in order to query a planetary disembodied entity, which is an intelligence, ask it a question, and then you draw a geomantic figure. Okay? Honestly, I think that should be its own video. Yeah, I think that we should do that as its own video. We should together ask a planetary intelligence or spirit a question, and then, yeah, you can ask a planetary spirit or intelligence a question. Work with it. And we are also, what I would like y'all to do, is to get a pen and paper. We're gonna work through these. Let me see here. Yes, there are different angels for the different deacons and for everything else. There's so many different ways to look at things, okay? There are angels and spirits of the different deacons, of the 28 mansions of the moon, everything else. Here in these videos, I put focus on the 72 angels of the Shem HaMephoresh, which each govern the 72 quinaries, or 5 degrees each of the zodiac. So, but the 72, these govern each 5 degrees of the zodiac, okay, as opposed to the deacons. For example, working with the 72 angels of the Shem HaMephoresh, basically you get 6 Shem angels per sign. Whereas working with the deacons, you would have, 3 deacons per sign. So it's just a little bit different system or way of working with it. But you could find the names of entities, astrological entities, throughout the texts and grimoires, through Agrippa and through the PGM, and so many different places that you can get names of spirits and entities. But anyways, so I think we should do an entire video, though, where we together ask an intelligence or spirit a question. We're going to do it together, and we can walk our way through some Renaissance classical magic together with that. So those of you watching my videos, y'all are already practicing magic. Yes, bit by bit. Yeah, bit by bit doing some magic, y'all. Y'all are already doing geomancy, right? Y'all have been doing this with me. You've been doing the dots and stuff, okay? It's already getting a little magic-y seeming. We're talking about, and now it's already getting a little magical here. You're starting to do the figures and stuff, and now we're starting to work with these classical magic. All right. So we're working through this stuff, okay? We're doing magic together. All right? We're doing some magic together, y'all. All right, so we're doing this magic. And I think we should do it a whole episode. Just, many of y'all have done this before, but some of y'all haven't. It might be the first time for some of y'all. We will work through this together. Shall we just go ahead and do it? So here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do, y'all. I just love these old magic books. Oh, the books of magic. Oh, the books of magic. Heck yeah. Oh, we got some geomancy in here. I just absolutely love it. Absolutely love it, y'all. Heck yeah. All right, y'all. So, if we go to Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa's 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, I know y'all got your copies out, just waiting, just waiting to have your copies opened up. If any of y'all are watching and you don't yet have a copy of the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, I highly recommend it, and we're going to read through this many times in our videos. But the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, these were published in 1533. Very, very important texts in the 16th century, books on magic. This was published in the 16th century, the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy. So we're working through some 16th century magic material. Here later on, I don't have it yet, but here later on, I'm going to put some links. And if y'all don't have a copy yet, there are different versions. If you click one of my links and you buy it, I do get a commission, though. They're commission links. 3 Books of Occult Philosophy. We're going to go to Book 2. This is Book 2, Chapter 22. So the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, Book 2, Chapter 22. Of the tables of the planets, their virtues, forms, and what divine names, intelligences, and spirits are set over them. Now, here, this is what we have in Agrippa, okay? So, this is what we have. How do you read this? First of all, here we have, this is the sigil of the spirit of Saturn. This is the sigil of the intelligence of Saturn. This is the sigil of the intelligence. And this is the spirit. And this is the seal of Saturn. And that's the magical square of Saturn. And here's a bunch of names of God in Hebrew. So how does all of this work? How does one make magic out of this? Okay. So this is how it works. So let's start over here in the text where it says the divine names, okay? We're going to start over here where it lists the divine names and you have the numbers. Divine names answering to the numbers of Saturn. Okay, we're starting with Saturn because it's the first one. So, the divine names answering to the numbers of Saturn. So, first of all, it's important to understand that every letter in Hebrew is also a number. Every letter in Hebrew also represents a number. So the Hebrew letter Aleph also is the number 1. The Hebrew letter Beit is also 2. So you can take any word in Hebrew, and each letter is also a number, and you can add up the letters and get some kind of number. This is called gematria. Okay, it's very important in basic Kabbalah, and it appears here in Agrippa. So this is the square, magic square of Saturn in Agrippa. And so as you can see, the numbers of Saturn are 3. And 15, and 9, and 45. If you look at the square of Saturn, you can see that these are kind of the numbers of Saturn, okay? Now, the name of God, Ab, A-B, Ab, means father. This has the gematria value of 3, and 3 is a number of Saturn. So Ab, that's Aleph Beit. That has a gematria value of 3, which is Saturn. Hod, which here is not the Sephira Hod. It's interesting. Here it's referring to this as being Saturn because it has the gematria value of 9. Yah, Yod He, has the gematria value of 15. That's Saturn 9. Agiel, which is the intelligence of Saturn. Agiel is the intelligence of Saturn, has the gematria of 45. And so does Zazel, which is the spirit of Saturn. Okay? So what I would do is, since 3 is the number of Saturn, I would call on the name of the intelligence Agiel 3 times. And I would call on Agiel's name 3 times using the names of God Ab and Yah and Hod. So I would use these 3 names of God from Agrippa and the name of the intelligence. I would trace the sigil. So how I would do it, and this is bringing Agrippa's magic to life. What you would do is you would trace the sigil of the intelligence of Saturn. Okay, this is the sigil of Hagiel. I mean, not Hagiel. Agiel. No H. A-G-I-E-L. Agiel. This is the sigil of Agiel, which is of Saturn. You would trace this sigil if your question was Saturn 9. And then you would call out the name Agiel 3 times and invoke him in the names of Av and Hod and Yah. Okay, that's my method. Okay? If you're going to continue through here, let's say that you want to know about work. Let's say you want to know about your question pertains to Jupiter. So you may want to know about a job promotion or anything to deal with Jupiter. Okay? So I would ask the intelligence of Jupiter. Now, right here in Agrippa, you see that the sigil of the intelligence of Jupiter, Yophiel, is right here. So this is the sigil of the sigil. This is the sigil of the intelligence of Jupiter, Yophiel. So you would trace the sigil of Jupiter, Yophiel, in a double circle, and then I would write the names in Hebrew, Yophiel, and then here you see the names of God. So the number 4 and 16, 34, and 136, these are the numbers of the square of Jupiter. Now, I would have to make a whole other video talking about magic squares. But basically, the names of God of Jupiter are Abba, Ehi, El-Av. And basically what you would do is you would call on Yophiel 4 times. 4 is associated with Jupiter. Call Yophiel. Call his name 4 times with his sigil. Call on him in the names of God, Abba and El-Av, and these names of God, okay, of Jupiter from Agrippa. This is everything that I'm doing and talking about is taken from the 3 books of occult philosophy, book 2, and this is from chapter 22. Okay, this is The Three Books of Occult Philosophy, Book 2, Chapter 22. Now, and this is to do a geomantic reading. Let's say that your question pertained to Mars. Let's say that you want to do a geomantic reading dealing with an enemy or some type of struggle, something martial. Or you want to ask the outcome of some war or battle or whatever. Somehow you want to do a geomantic reading and you want to ask the intelligence or spirit of Mars, Raphael or Bart's, but you want to ask a spirit of Mars a question with geomancy. What would you do? All right. So I'm going to tell y'all how you can ask geomancy, use geomancy to communicate with spirits. Okay. So the intelligence of Mars is Raphael. This is the sigil of the intelligence of Mars, and Agrippa is of Raphael. So in Cornelius Agrippa, this is the sigil of Raphael. This is the intelligence of Mars. I would trace this in a double circle around it. So this is in the center of a double circle. Okay, Raphael, the names of God, again, that are listed here in Agrippa, all this Hebrew stuff, the names of God associated with Raphael of Mars are Ha, it's like the breath, it's 5. Yehi, Adonai has the value of 65. Adonai is seen as martial here. So you use the names of God to call upon Raphael, and I would do it 5 times. Somehow integrate the number 5, because in Agrippa the number 5 is associated with Mars. Once again, this is the Three Books of Occult Philosophy. This is Book 2, Chapter 22. We're talking about the intelligences and spirits of the 7 planets with their sigils and how to communicate with the spirit of magic in order to ask a question in a geomantic reading. Let's say that your question pertained to the sun. We're going to go through these. You would ask Nachiel, and Nachiel, this is his sigil, Nachiel. So you would trace the sigil of Nachiel in a double circle, and you would call on his name, and I would do it 6 times. And you would do the same thing for the intelligence of Venus. The intelligence of Venus. This is the sigil of Hagiel. That is the intelligence of Venus. Okay. All right. And then you have, you want to work with the intelligence of Mercury. Okay. Tyriel, you want to work with the intelligence of Mercury. Okay. Or you want to work with the intelligence of the moon or whatever else. So what you're doing is you're calling on these, you're tracing the sigils taken from Agrippa. You're calling on these spirits that are listed in Agrippa, using the names of God taken from Agrippa, with the square, the number associated with the planet, associated with Agrippa. And what you're going to do is you're going to ask it a question. Okay? You're going to ask the spirit a question, and you're going to take a pen and paper, and you're going to trace 4 rows of dots, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to count the dots in those 4 rows, and if it's an odd number, that becomes 1 dot in your geomantic figure, and if you get an even number, that creates 2 dots in your geomantic figure. And you use this to construct a figure, like this figure behind me, which is Fortuna Major. Fortuna Major. Now, I think in a future video, maybe the next one, we'll actually do this together. But now you have a little bit of information. For those of you that haven't done this before, you have a little of information that these are the 7 spirits or intelligences that you would ask questions. Now, there is both a planetary intelligence and there is a planetary spirit. These are 2 different entities. I personally ask the planetary intelligence. That's what I do. I ask the planetary intelligence. But there's like a hierarchy. That's a whole video unto itself. Planetary squares is a video unto itself. These are all videos It's a lot to get into here. Renaissance magic, y'all. All right. Yep. Exactly. Odd is 1, and then even becomes 2. So today we are going to continue reading Agrippa or pseudo-Agrippa's on geomancy. This book, this is different from the 3 books. This comes from Agrippa's 4th book, what we're about to get into. Now, this is largely believed to have not been written by Agrippa. This is why it's often referred to as pseudo-Agrippa. However, whatever the case may be, this work showed up posthumously about 30 years after Agrippa's death. Whether it is by Agrippa or not, it claims to be written by Agrippa, but it does date from the latter part of the 16th century. So it came out around, I think, 1565. Something like that. So it's still from the 1500s on geomancy. Geomancy. Again, so we just read what we know is actually by Agrippa on the spirits that we're going to do geomantic readings on, because we're doing traditional geomancy, okay, from Agrippa. We just read what Agrippa had to say about planetary intelligences and spirits, their seals and names of God and all of this. Now we get into another book, quote unquote, pseudo Agrippa on geomancy, okay? And today we're going to talk about Fortuna Major. This figure right to my left is Fortuna Major. Now, if you've been following my videos, we worked through the rest of Agrippa or pseudo-Agrippas on geomancy, and we worked up to where now we are working through the 16 geomantic figures and the 12 houses of the zodiac. Okay? The 16 geomantic figures and the 12 houses of the zodiac. And yesterday we did a shield chart together. If you've been watching my videos, I've been explaining how to make a chart. Today we are working through we begin working through the 16 geomantic figures and the signs of the zodiac. But before we do that, let's do an exercise together. Let's do an exercise. Any of y'all at home, I would like you to get a pen and paper. Get a pen and paper. Come on, y'all. Don't be a spoil sports. Get a pen and paper. I'll wait. I'll wait. Don't be spoil sports. Get a pen and paper, y'all. Come on. Get a pen and paper. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. I believe you can do it. We're gonna do some geomancy, y'all. Heck yeah. We are all gonna walk out of this video being geomancers and, well, magicians. We're gonna leave this video being magicians. Now, today, we're just gonna draw a figure together. Starting tomorrow, we're actually going to work through, we're going to start working through, now that I'm thinking, you know what I might do? I would wait till a waxing moon, though. I'd wait till the moon's waxing again. It might be a cool exercise. I might wait till a waxing moon, but I want people that are watching my videos later on to still get something out of it, but it might be cool. I might do like Sunday. We could together ask the intelligence of the sun, Nakiel, a question. But all of us, we're all asking Nakiel specifically on the same day a question. And then on the next day, Monday, we might together, I'll show the sigil of that angel. and we'll work through that angel, and we'll call on that angel together, and I'll help y'all call on that angel. You know what? Huh. Okay. So Sunday, like I can show you the sigil of the angel, and we could trace it out, and I'll tell, we'll look at the names of God that you would call on according to Agrippa, for those of you that are comfortable with that. And we will call on the intelligence together, and we'll draw a figure. And I think that we could cycle through the 7 planets in this way. And we could read the Key of Solomon, what the Key of Solomon has to say about what each planet governs, the days and hours of each planet and what they govern. We could, you know what? Sorry, I gotta write this down because I think this is actually important. Yeah. I think that this is what I am going to do, y'all. All right, hold on just a second, y'all. So, I think we should wait till a waxing moon, maybe. Should we? That's a question. Question mark waxing, because it's divinatory. Let's see. But let's see here. Sunday, for example. Hold on just a second here. Yeah, we can do a Nochial Sigil, names of God, breakdown. We could call the spirit together. We ask a question, draw a figure, yeah. I think, hold on just a second, y'all. All right, yeah, I think that we're going to do that. It might be a cool little thing, That's what I like about doing these daily videos, is we might come up with something spontaneous, something cool we can do. But I think that's what we're going to do is because, many of y'all are already familiar with this, but some of you aren't. Some of you have never called on a spirit or worked with classical magic before. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to start on a Sunday, and I might even, have no days off, because I want to work all the way through this, just work straight through, no days off. But I might do like a short video on Saturday, because I really like to rest on Saturday or once a week. And what I can do is, like, let's say Sunday, I'll trace the sigil of the sun, and I'll break down from Agrippa the magic square of the sun, the sigil of the spirit of the sun, or intelligence, the names of God, and together we will call on the intelligence of the sun, Nochiel, and then I ask a question, you at home, all of you viewers can ask a question, and then we all draw a geomantic reading, and that will give people that maybe are not comfortable or have never done it before, or they don't know how to begin, they get a chance to ask a solar spirit a question and get a reading, and then try to break down what that is. And those of you that are happen to be watching live will be able to even get that looked at publicly. Now, I wish I can give like a proper time. Like, as you see, like my schedule's sporadic, but I am doing an hour, 2 hours of video a day, 5 days. It is a lot of material, at least, it's like 10 hours a week I'm pumping out here. So Monday through Friday, whatever time, there is a video coming out Monday through Friday. And then Saturdays are normally days of rest, and then Sundays, I'll put something out in Spanish. But anyways, yep, that's something we could do, and then we will cycle through the planets, and we'll go through all 7, and we'll work our way through Agrippa, and we're going to bring Agrippa to life with some geomancy. But now we are, if you have a pen and paper at home, we're going to draw a geomantic figure, y'all. We're going to draw a geomantic figure. Do you have a pen and paper? So what we're going to do is you're going to take a pen and paper, and you are going to make a series of dots on a piece of paper. You're going to make 4 rows of dots, okay? Once you're done, you're going to focus on your question and make 4 rows of dots. We are doing geomancy. And once you're done, I'll tell you the next step. So, I personally, I like to use like a marker or a sharpie or something like that. Here's what I am going to do. I'm going to do this. Okay, we are going to ask a question. What am I going to ask here? Let me see here. All right, I have my question. Do you have your question? I want y'all to take a pen and paper, and we're going to make a geomantic figure, okay? Are y'all ready? I want y'all to get a pen and paper, and we are going to make a geomantic figure. Okay, get a pen and paper. I want you to think of a question. I already have a question. Do you have a question yet? All right, so here's what we're going to do. You got your pen and paper? We're going to make 4 rows of dots. So just like dot, 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 1 row. You're going to move down, do a second row. You're going to do four rows of dots. Don't think about the number. Just focus on your question. It might be a good idea to write down your question. Okay. But you would just do you would do 4 rows of dots. Okay. So I'm going to think of my question, and I want all of y'all watching at home to think of a question and do 4 rows of dots. So here we go. We're doing geomancy, y'all. Here we go. All right. Did y'all get those? I have my dots. So as you see here, I made 4 rows of dots, okay? 4 rows of dots. Now these 4 rows are going to make a geomantic figure. So, did you make your rows yet? If not, if you're watching later on, then pause and ask a question. Take pen and paper and make 4 rows of dots, okay? So if you're watching later on, I want you to pause, make 4 rows of dots, and ask a question. If you're watching live, hopefully you've already done that. Ask a question, take a pen and paper, and make 4 rows of dots like that, okay? So I want you to take a pen and paper, ask a question, and make 4 rows of dots like that. Now that that's done, we're going to count the rows. If it's an odd number of dots, then it becomes 1 dot in our geomantic figure. If it's an even number of dots in a row, then it becomes 2 dots in our figure. So we're going to count the number of dots in each row. So let's see what we have here. And let's see what you get at home. So I'm going to count mine. So I'm starting at the top row here. In my top row, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 for my top row. 8 is an even number. So since 8 is an even number, my top row is 2. So my top row is 8. 8 is an even number, so my top row is 2. Again, if it's an even number, it's 2. If it's odd, it's 1. Now I'm going to count my second row of dots. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 again. 8 is an even number, so my second line is 2 of my geomantic figure, okay? 2. Because even numbers are 2, odd numbers are 1. Now I'm going to count my third row. Again, we asked a question and we got a third row. I counted the top row of dots. I got even number. Second row, even number. Now I'm going to count my third row of dots. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, again, is an even number. That's 2. Okay. And now I'm going to count my bottom row. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow. That actually fits and is actually pretty profound with my question. So I got all even numbers of my rows, and I got populous. Populous. So what you do is you count the number of dots. If I had an odd number in one of the rows, it would have been 1 dot in that row instead of 2. But I got all 2s. 2, 2, 2, 2 is my geomantic figures, populous. Interesting. Very interesting. So what did you guys get? What did y'all get? Tony says it would be great if you would go through a whole procedure for a planetary talisman. Sure, absolutely. And then also, there's a really good book, some really good books that I could recommend as well for that as well. So did y'all do a geomantic figure? What did y'all get? All right, what did y'all get, y'all? Did you do a geomantic figure? So I got populous. And now what you do is you take the symbol and you turn it in, and you relate it to basically, your question, your thing. You turn it in your mind and you think about like how this archetype, how does this touch my life in this situation? It actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that actually makes a great deal of sense. So, all right. So no one here has done a figure that you want to look at right now. If not, then we can go on and work through Agrippa. It's non-stop magic school in these videos. Non-stop magic class, y'all. So, today we're going to be looking at Fortuna Major. Fortuna Major is this image above my left here. Fortuna Major. This is a geomantic figure. Every geomantic figure is composed of 4 lines. Here we have the top line is the headline. The second line is often called the neckline. The third line is called the body line, and the bottom line is often referred to as the feet line, or the line of the feet. Another way to look at this is elemental. The top line is the fire line. The second line down is the air line. The third line is the water line, and the bottom line is the earth line. So, Fortuna Major has 2 at the top, or 2 at the head, then 2 at the neck, 1 at the body, 1 at the feet. Or you could say 2 in the fire line, 2 in the air line, 1 in the water line, 1 in the earth line. So Fortuna Major. Again, geomantic figures are made of 1s and 2s. It's like on and off. It's like binary. So 2, 2, 1, 1. Fortuna Major. Now, in geomancy, you can make in my last video, I talked about how to make a shield chart. Actually, my last 2 videos, I explained thoroughly how to do a shield chart. If you haven't watched those videos, then I highly recommend that you watch those videos to better understand this when I go into how to make a shield chart. But within a shield chart is found the house chart. So what you would do is you would draw 4 geomantic figures that become the mothers, and from these 4 geomantic figures, you would make a whole chart that you could also interpret based upon the 12 houses of the zodiac. Now, in my last 2 videos, I talked about how to do this and broke this down. I won't be getting into it today, but don't worry. If I would recommend, if you haven't seen it yet, to go watch my last 2 videos, but I will be getting into it again. Now, today I won't be talking about how to make a chart, but we will be looking at Fortuna Major in all 12 houses, okay? So we are reading Agrippa on geomancy, and we're looking at Fortuna Major in the 12 houses of the zodiac. Again, this is from Agrippa's 4th book of occult philosophy, or Pseudo-Agrippa's 4th book. It's actually composed of 6 texts, all written in the 16th century. These include the Arbitel, 2 books on geomancy, the 4th book proper, and a book on the nature of spirits. So these 6 treatises together, collectively thrown together as the 4th book of occult philosophy, I think is one of the most important texts. And if you get this book, you have 6 books on 16th century magic. I'm going to give a link in my videos, and of course my links are commissioned, but you get all 6 Renaissance magic books from the 16th century. But anyways, today we're looking at Fortuna Major. We're reading at Agrippa, or Pseudo-Agrippa, on geomancy, okay? And this was written in the latter part of the 16th century. So this is a book on magic from the 1500s. I encourage those of you that have a copy to read at home. So we are reading Agrippa on geomancy. All right. And there are different versions of this, but this is what we're reading. Henry Cornelius Agrippa on geomancy. And here we go. Fortuna Major. Fortuna Major. Okay. Fortuna Major being found in the 1st house. So it's going to show what this figure means in all 12 houses. Fortuna Major being found in the 1st house giveth long life and freeth from the molestation of diseases. Hold on just a second, y'all. Hold on. All right, so here we go. Fortuna Major being found in the 1st house. Giveth long life and freeth from the molestation of diseases. It demonstrateth a man to be noble, magnanimous, of good manners, mean of stature, complexion ruddy, hair curling, and his superior members greater than his inferior. In the 2nd house, so the 2nd house is like possessions and stuff. In the 2nd house, he signifies manifest riches and manifest gain, good fortune and the gaining of anything lost or mislaid, the taking of a thief and recovery of things stolen. So it's talking about having Fortuna Major, okay? In the 3rd house, he signifies brethren and kinsmen, nobles and persons of good conversation, journeys to be prosperous and gainful with honor. It demonstrateth men to be faithful and their friendships to be unfeigned. Again, this is Fortuna Major. In the fourth house, he represents a father to be noble and of good reputation, and known by many people. He enlargeth possessions and cities, increaseth patrimonies, and discovereth hidden treasures. In this place he likewise signifies theft and recovers everything lost. In the fifth house, again, we're dealing with Fortuna Major. We're reading from Agrippa on Geomancy. In the fifth house, he giveth joy by children, and causeth them to attain to great honors. Embassages he rendereth prosperous, but they are purchased with pains and prayers. He noteth rumors to be true. He bestoweth public honors, and causeth a man to be very famous after death. For showeth a woman with child to bring forth the man-child. In the sixth house he freeth from diseases. Showeth those that have infirmity shall in a short time recover. Signifieth a physician to be faithful and honest to administer good physic, of which there ought to be had no suspicion. Household servants and ministers to be faithful, and of animals he chiefly signifies horses. In the seventh house he giveth a wife rich, honest, and of good manners, loving and pleasant. He overcometh strifes and contentions. But if the question be concerning them, he signifieth the adversaries to be very potent and great favorites. In the eighth house, if a question be proposed of the death of any one, it signifies he shall live. The kind of death he showeth to be good and natural, an honest burial and honorable funerals. He foreshoweth a wife to have a rich dowry, legacies, and inheritance. In the ninth house he signifies journeys to be prosperous, and by land on horseback rather than on foot, to be long and not soon accomplished. He showeth the return of those that are absent, signifies men to be of good faith and constant in their intentions and religious, and that never change or alter their faith. Dreams he presageth to be true, signifieth true and perfect sciences. In the 10th house, again dealing with Fortuna Major here, in the 10th house he foreshoweth great honors, bestoweth public offices, magistracy, and judgments, and honors in the courts of princes, signifieth judges to be just and not corrupted with gifts, bringeth a cause to be easily and soon expedited, showeth kings to be potent, fortunate, and victorious, denoteth victory to be certain, signifieth a mother to be noble and of long life. In the 11th house he signifies true friends and profitable, a prince rich and liberal, maketh a man fortunate and beloved of his prince. In the 12th house, if a question be proposed of the quality of enemies, it demonstrateth them to be potent and noble, and hardly to be resisted. But if a question shall be concerning any other condition or respect to the enemies, he will deliver from their treacheries. It signifieth faithful servants, reduceth fugitives, hath signification of animals as horses, lions and bulls, freeth from imprisonments and imminent dangers. He either mitigateth or taketh away. All right. So that is Fortuna Major working through the 12 houses of the zodiac. I think it's a good exercise. Now, we never want to slavishly follow any book on meanings of any figures, but I think it's a good exercise to just cycle through these. It helps to internalize both what the 12 houses mean in the zodiac and the figure. And you're kind of looking at Agrippa or pseudo-Agrippa. It may have not been written by Agrippa, this text, on Geomancy. But you see the figure go work through all. This one was all fortunate. You see that Fortuna Major is very fortunate. Any domain of life, you're dealing with good fortune and happiness, a good pleasant marriage, a good prosperous thing, and dealing with career and finances. Anywhere you get Fortuna Major, you're dealing with like a lot of positivity and things like that. So that is Fortuna Major, okay? And then it works, then it's going to go through Fortuna Minor. So this is pretty cool. We're working through these Renaissance texts, okay? And then, so he puts these together. So Fortuna Major, and then it goes through Fortuna Minor. You know what? I might go through both. If he does them in pairs, maybe I should put them in pairs. If Agrippa or pseudo-Agrippa paired these, then maybe they should be paired in my videos. Okay. We're going to make it happen, Captain. Alright, we just did Fortuna Major. Now we're going to go through Fortuna Minor. And then we'll work through Via in the next one, okay? Fortuna Minor, the lesser fortune. This is this figure, but turned upside down. So, this was Fortuna Major. So, here's what we're going to do. And these are both governed by Leo, according to Pseudo-Agrippa, which is the 16th century book on geomancy. Okay, these are both assigned to Leo. This is Fortuna Minor. Okay, Fortuna Minor. So, here we go, Fortuna Minor. There we go, Fortuna Minor. These are both associated with the Leo and the Sun. The lesser fortune. This is the lesser. So as you can see, it's the same as greater fortune. It's just flipped upside down. Okay, so this is the lesser fortune. So here we go. The lesser fortune. Fortuna Minor in the first house signifieth long life, but encumbered with diverse molestations and sicknesses. It signifieth a person of short stature, a lean body, having a mold or mark in his forehead or right eye. In the second house, he signifies substance, and so is the second house, Fortuna Minor. In the second house, he signifies substance, and that to be consumed with too much prodigality. Hideth a thief, and a thing stolen is scarcely to be recovered, but with great labor. In the third house he causeth discord among brethren and kinsfolk, threateneth danger to be on a journey, but escapeth it, rendereth men to be of good faith, but of close and hidden minds. So as you can see, this is more mixed. Like, it's not quite as fortunate as Fortuna Major. It's still fortunate, but, you know. In the third house he causeth discord. So you can see a little bit of a negative side with the Fortuna Minor that you don't see in Fortuna Major. In the third house he causeth discord among brethren and kinsfolk, threateneth danger to be in a journey, but escapeth it. Rendereth men to be of good faith, but of close and hidden minds. And then notice in the first house he said with sicknesses, like good and long life, but with sickness. Anyways. Threateneth danger to be in a journey, but escapeth it. Rendereth men to be of good faith, but of close and hidden minds. In the fourth house he prejudiceth patrimonies and inheritances, concealeth treasures, and things lost cannot be regained, but with great difficulty. He signifieth a father to be honest, but a spender of his estate through prodigality, leaving small portions to his children. Fortuna Minor in the fifth house giveth few children. A woman with child he signifies shall have a woman child. Signifies embassiges to be honorable, but little profitable. Raiseth to mean honors. Giveth a good fame after death, but not much divulged. Not of lasting memory. And the sixth house, so it's fortunate, but it's not quite as fortunate as Fortuna Major. And the sixth house, and this is, again, we're using a 16th century book to learn geomancy. We're not doing a modern book. This is all, we're all learning from the 16th century classics. In the sixth house, he signifies diseases. Wow. So Fortuna Minor actually diseases. In the sixth house, For he signifies diseases, both sanguine and choleric, showeth the sick person to be in great danger, but shall recover, signifies faithful servants, but slothful and unprofitable. And the same of other animals. In the seventh house, wait, what? In the seventh house he giveth a wife of a good progeny descended, but you shall be encumbered with many troubles with her. Causeth love to be anxious and unconstant, prolongeth contentions, and maketh one's adversaries to circumvent him with many cavalations. But in process of time he giveth victory. In the eighth house he showeth the kind of death to be good and honest, but obscure, or in a strange place or pilgrimage. Discovereth legacies and possessions, but to be obtained with suit and difficulty. Denoteth funerals and buryings to be obscure. The portion of a wife to be hardly gotten but easily spent. In the ninth house he maketh journeys to be dangerous, and a party absent slowly to return. Causeth men to be occupied in offices of religion, showeth sciences to be unaccomplished, but keepeth constancy and faith in religion. In the tenth house he signifieth kings and princes to be potent, but to gain their power with war and violence. Banished men he showeth shall soon return. It likewise discovereth honors, great offices, and benefits, but for which ye shall continually labor and strive, and wherein ye shall find no stable continuance. A judge shall not favor you. Suits and contentions he prolongeth. A father and mother he showeth shall soon die, and always be affected with many diseases. In the 11th house he maketh many friends, but such as are poor and unprofitable, and not able to relieve thy necessities. It ingratiates you with princes, and giveth great hopes, but small gains, neither long to continue in any benefice or office bestowed by a prince. In the 12th house he showeth enemies to be crafty, subtle, and fraudulent, and studying to circumvent you with many secret factions. Signifies one in prison to be long detained, but at length to be delivered. Animals he showeth to be unfruitful, and servants unprofitable, and the changes of fortune to be frequent, from good to evil, and from bad to good. Okay, so that is Agrippa, or pseudo-Agrippa, on his first pair, which was Fortuna Major, and then this one, which is Fortuna Minor. So as you can see, Agrippa, or pseudo-Agrippa, in his fourth book of occult philosophy, in his book on geomancy, he puts the 16 geomantic figures, he puts them into 8 pairs, okay? So you have a pair of geomantic figures that goes with each of the 7 planets, and then the north and south nodes of the moon. As many of you know, I've decided to do videos full-time. This is what I do as my full-time job now. I just put all of my focus into just talking about magic and talking about stuff like that. If you would like to support, so my content is free. I provide free information for people. In fact, many hours of free information for people that want to use geomancy or learn practical magic. So if you would like to support me as a free, like, public education, giving this knowledge to everyone, anyone can listen in and learn geomancy with me, learn about this practical magic, learn about the Shem angels. So I provide hours of content for free. This is what I do. If you would like to support my work, then I also give a Patreon, okay, that supports my work. Also, any of the books that I recommend, the links that I provide are monetized links, and then I also offer private tutoring as well. So what is the purpose behind that? The purpose behind that is that I want to teach magic full time. I want to do this as just my career, you know. And working through the 72 angels of the Shem HaMephoresh, this crazy idea came to me, and it is absolutely insane, in a sense that, not in a bad way, in the sense that it's just like it's nothing that ever even crossed my mind, like in a very serious way in my life. Of doing this is like my only career or job is just just being myself. Having my videos talking about magic, trying to help people with magic. Okay. So, anyways, if anyone wants to support my Patreon, or if you get anything out of my videos, be sure and like, subscribe, and comment. Yep. And then I'll have another video coming out tomorrow as well. All right. I'll have another video coming out tomorrow. So if you want to support my work, be sure and check out my Patreon. I'll have new videos on magic coming out every day, Monday through Friday. And yep, we'll have another video for y'all coming out tomorrow as well. Okay. So I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see y'all in the next video. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Okay. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I will see y'all tomorrow, y'all. Thank you so much. I just wanted to say that I genuinely appreciate y'all taking the time to stop by and say hello, and for that are watching live, and I appreciate y'all taking the time to watch my content. All right, and I'll see y'all tomorrow, and we will continue working through classical magic and Renaissance magic together in these videos. Thank you very much, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Have a great day, y'all. Thank you, and you have a great day as well. All right. And then, like I said, I do have my Patreon back up if anyone wants to check that out. And then tomorrow, what we're about to do, we're about to start doing where I give people that have never had a chance to start calling on the planetary intelligences, and how to do that all based on Agrippa, all from a traditional standpoint. So we've got that coming up in the next videos. I hope everyone has a great day. Have a great day, y'all. Bye. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Well, I'll see y'all in the next video. All right. Have a great day, y'all. Bye.